I'm going to give you my 2025 real estate and mortgage predictions. And why shouldn't I? I've got 32 years of experience, and I don't see why my predictions are going to be any worse or better than the so-called experts. So tell me what you think. Real estate values, they're going up again. There's just no getting around it. Whether it's 3%, 5%, 7%, it doesn't really matter. We've got an inventory problem that's not going away. There are more buyers than sellers, and so that is going to perpetuate this pressure on values to continue to go up. We've already seen that higher rates don't bring lower values. We had rates close to 8% and values kind of flatlined, maybe a slight dip, but clearly no crash. Anybody that continues to talk about a crash, it's either clickbait or they definitely don't know what they're talking about. However, I do think there are going to be some areas that see a dip where values do fall a little bit. Maybe best case scenario, flatline. Because let's face it, we have a major housing affordability problem. And there are some areas that are so high priced, the amount of buyers that are going to be willing to purchase in those areas it's going to be less. For example, when people are buying $1 million homes, their payments are $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month. That pool of people is shrinking. In a lot of these areas, the homes are 15, 20, 25 years old, especially like Howard County. And so if the kitchen's not updated, the bathroom's not updated, it needs new flooring, it needs a new fresh look. Most importantly, it's not priced right. Those houses can sit, and then you start seeing price drops. Areas where there's a lot of vacation homes and Airbnbs, we've definitely seen some of those areas struggle a little bit. If your house is on a main road, or it's near power lines, or it has a unique layout, you better price it right. And that's where having a good realtor comes in, because we've definitely seen moments where people just come in too hot and they start seeing the price drops and it starts sitting, and then it looks like there's something wrong with it. Those are going to be some of the struggles that we see in the real estate market. Despite overall, it's going to perform pretty well. What's going to move the needle up or down a little bit more or less? It's going to be rates. This trend's going to continue into next year. We have heard for so long, hey, rates are going to go into the fives, marry the house, date the rate. It just hasn't happened. I think next year we're going to see much of the same, where we think that rates are going to make their move. They start to make their move, and then it stalls and it goes back up. We saw that in October. That was the moment we're like, here we go. People started refinancing. We felt like it was go time. And what happened? The Fed started lowering rates, but inflation has been a little bit sticky. The unemployment reports are stronger than expected. What it's forced the Fed to do is kind of reevaluate things. At their last meeting, they said they're likely to make less cuts next year, and the markets hated it. Then on top of that, there's been this talk of tariffs. If that really comes into play, that is inflationary. We can wish it, want it, predict it all we want, but I don't see the rates getting into the fives next year unless we start seriously hearing talk of a recession. Recessions do bring lower rates, but right now the market has a lot of energy about this new presidency, and there's a lot of activity, and everyone's feeling that things are going to be good. We have no idea how this is going to play out. And things start unraveling, and the economy loses some steam, and maybe the Fed changes their tune again, because they always can. They just showed us that they will do that. Then maybe we start to see some rate movement. But for now, expect much of the same. Regardless of all of that, even if we're going to have much of the same, higher rates, low inventory, all of these things that feel like 23 and 22 did, we're going to have more activity. Because let's face it, we as a species, we are an impatient people. People will move more than they did in the previous years. They've had their 3% rate, it's worn off. For many, it's already been 4 years. They're tired of the house. They don't want to update the kitchen again. And all you need is a little bit of rate movement. Just getting into the sixes. In October, people started calling again. People that had thought about it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they're getting back in the mix. So I know you're thinking about it. And then there will be more refinances. Cash out refinances will become more of a thing. Because the other problem is, yes, they have the 3% rate, but they also jacked up some of their credit card debt. Their home equity lines are higher. Consolidation of debt is going to become more of a thing because they can. They've got so much more equity. They have the ability to do it. So 7%, when you blend all that together, is going to look pretty good. Reorganizing is going to become a big thing in 2025. So between those two things, it will be busier. I can almost guarantee it, and I certainly welcome it. And of course, I invite you to ask me about it. So if you hung in there with me, I appreciate you. Happy New Year. Tell me what you think about my predictions. See ya. Peace.